let's understand everything about Flins easily and quickly. So he's the new character from Nod Karai and all that, and I'm sure you already know about these things. So moving on to his kit, his normal and charged attacks by themselves are pretty bad without using his skill, so we can skip this. Now before going to his skill, you should keep a few things in your mind.
Número 1.
Flins works best with another Nod Karai teammate. Without them, he'll do half the damage he normally does. So another Nod Karai character is a must if you plan on using Flins.
Número 2.
No need, that'll be all. So starting with his skill will have 2 different phases. So after you tap the skill, Flins will gain Electro Infusion, which will convert all normal and charged attacks damage into electro damage. He'll also gain interruption resistance, and this'll last for 10 seconds. Moving on, while it's active, it'll replace the original skill with a temporary special skill called the Northland Spear Storm, and if you click the skill again now, Flins will deal AoE electro damage to the opponents in front of him, and it'll replace his main burst with a mini burst that'll cost 30 energy. This special skill has a cooldown of 6 seconds, so you can only use it once per skill use. However, the cooldown does go down with constellations, and we'll talk about that later. Now going to his burst, his default burst will be available when you're not in his special skill mode. And as for the burst itself, it's pretty good, as it'll do quite a bit of damage. Also, if there are thunder clouds present nearby, it'll moderately buff his burst. As for the energy cost, it has an energy cost of 80 and a cooldown of 20 seconds. Talking about his special mini burst as well, Flins deals a single instance of AoE electro damage. And if there are thunder clouds nearby, this special burst will be moderately buffed as well. So now that you know how his kit works, just to sum up how everything works, you have Flins. His skill has 2 variants. Tapping it once gave you interruption resistance and electro infusion on your normal attacks, and the second tap deals some AoE damage and allows you to use a mini version of his burst, and that's his entire mechanic. Okay, nice. Now moving on, looking at his passives, they all just buff him. His first passive lets him deal 20% more lunar charge damage when you have another Nod Karai character. His second passive will increase his elemental mastery by 8% of his attack, with the maximum bonus being 160. The third passive is just about converting electrocharged reactions into lunar-charged reactions. And his last passive talks about local resources unique to Nod Karai displaying on your minimap. Now looking at his build, you'd want to level up both his skill and burst first, giving more importance to burst, and then you can level up the normal attacks if you really want to. It'll be fine even if you leave them at level 1. Going to his artifacts, his best in slot is going to be Night of the Skies Unveiling, but if for some reason you don't want to farm this, you can also go with Marichussi Hunter. For the stats, you'd want to get attack percentage and energy recharge on Sands, attack percentage on Goblet, and either crit rate or crit damage on Circlet. As for the substats priority, you'd want energy recharge, crit rate or damage, attack percentage, and elemental mastery. Also for his energy recharge, you'd want to aim around 150% to 180%. As for his weapons, you can pick anything you want out of this list. The higher, the better. If you did get his signature weapon, then to keep it short, the weapon will boost Flins' damage right after his burst, and then it gives him extra crit damage and refunds energy after he triggers lunar charged reactions. Talking about team comps, you'll always need 2 types of characters. A Nod Karai character and another Hydro unit, with which you can trigger lunar charged reactions, because without these 2, Flins will pretty much lose out on all of his damage. So you get the idea overall. For a short example, you could use a team like Flins, Ineffa, Ano, and Sucrose. Going to his constellations, keeping it short, his C1 reduces his special elemental skill cooldown by 2 seconds, and grant him 8 energy when party members trigger lunar reactions once every 5 seconds. C2 allows him to deal 50% of his attack as AoE electro damage once when he has electro infusion. Opponents hit by his electro attacks also get minus 25% electro resistance for 7 seconds. C3 increases the level of his elemental burst by 3. C4 increases Flins' attack by 20%. His third passive gets a buff too, as the elemental master increases by 10% of his attack. C5 increases the level of his elemental skill by 3. C6 will increase Flins' lunar charge damage by 35%, as well as increases all other party members' lunar charge damage by 10%.